We're very pleased to be talking to Robert. I can never say your name properly. How do you say it?
Gutfreund-Walmsley.
Gutfreund-Walmsley, and he likes to be called Bob. So, Bob, where were you born?
I was born in Budapest, Hungary.
Right. And have you? When did you move to England?
I think at the age of 9.
Yeah. And before that, you were moved out to
Well,
a
spent
village
a little
with a
time
wall.
in Germany.
Yes.
But I left Hungary at 7.
Right. Okay. You arrived in Newcastle, 7 years of age. What was your father doing at that time?
He was dead.
He was dead. Right. Okay.
So really, I don't think I...
You were an orphan then, really.
I had a mother.
You had your mother, yeah.
So there was my mum.
Yeah.
Brought up by my mother.
And were there any brothers and sisters with you?
No, I'm single. I'm an only child.
Only child, right. Okay. Did your mother go out to work, or?
Yes, she worked first as a domestic servant, and then I think she was a secretary to an electrical engineering firm in Newcastle.
Uh-huh. So what happened? You grew up in Newcastle. You went to primary school, and you went on to grammar school.
Well, I went to school. No, I didn't go to grammar school. I went to I went to school in Gateshead,
Yes.
Newcastle and Wallsend. It was a secondary modern school, which I left at 15.
Yeah. And then what did you do?
We moved on to London with my mum,
Yeah.
and I think I became an apprentice electrician. So from the age of 16 to, I left school at 15, and from the age of 16 to 21 I was an electrician.
So you're a time-served electrician?
Yep. Yeah, I'm a qualified electrician. I got my sitting gills.
Very good. Okay.
And after that, I did national service in the Royal Engineers.
Royal Engineers, yeah. Did you take you abroad at all?
Yes, I was stationed in Germany for 20 months in Osnabrück.
Yeah.
So I learned to speak German. I used to help the local youth club, or youth hostel, I think, and I learned to speak German there. Went to classes on the camp had classes on it, you know.
Uh-huh. And did you, so that was 2 years, was it, national service?
2 years national service. I came out in 61.
Yeah, and then what did you
Then I went back to being an electrician, not for very long, because, well, I cycled around Europe first.
You cycled around Europe?
Yeah, for about 3 months. And then I went to National College for the Training of Youth Workers at Leicester. That's just started after the Albemarle report. I don't know if you know about the Albemarle report.
National College of Youth Workers in Leicester.
Yeah, National College for the Training of Youth Workers.
The training
of youth workers in Leicester. It's part of the Albemarle report, an emergency 1-year course.
And having completed that, where did you go?
Oh, I got a job in Durham, County Durham, in Blackhall, which is a mining village, in Easington, Durham. And I was a youth worker there for 2 years.
And what did you like about that particular job?
Oh, I loved it. It was a lovely community, and I just liked working with young people. The adults were more problematic, I think. Always more problems from adults than from kids as a youth worker.
Okay, and what happened after that? You were there for...
I went
were you there for
2 years. 2 years. I went down, and I got a job in the London Borough of Bromley, again in youth work. I was there for 2 years as well. Very different kind of clientele.
Were you classed as a youth worker?
Yeah.
You were down there?
I was a youth worker. In London I was a senior youth worker.
Senior?
Big promotion, yes. Twice the money, twice the expenses.
Why was it different from where you'd been before? What was the contrast between Durham and London? And
well, I think Durham was essentially a village, and everybody knew everybody. So the whole village was really well interconnected. Whereas in London, the young people were far less rooted and much more, if you like, detached from the whole of society, really. They're very you know, they're much more volatile and they're probably more criminal intent. Certainly, they tried to blow the youth club up once, you know. So it's, there's a big trial of, you know, those things just didn't happen in Durham.
But did they stay in their area? But they were more.
Yes, they were.
They stayed in a rough area.
Yeah,
but
Penge, South East London, Penge now.
Yeah.
Penge is the roughest part of London Borough of Bromley, I think.
Yeah. So you did 2 years there then?
Yeah. Then I went to. Well, I did my A levels then because I left school without any qualifications at all.
So you did A levels, yeah.
I did O levels and A levels.
Yeah.
And then I went to Durham, University of Durham.
How old would you be then?
1968. I was 30.
30. Yeah. Right.
And
what degree did you do?
sociology with politics.
The fact that you were doing that degree, did that sort of kindle your interest in politics, or did it, were you interested in politics before?
I think I was to some extent involved in politics before, because I was as an electrician, I was in the ETU, which is a communist-led trade union, as you you may well recall.
Well, I used to negotiate with them, so yes.
Ah, right. Right. So I was in that. So I was in the Labour Party when I went to Durham. And I think in Durham, I was more interested, I became more interested in ideas and theories of politics. Before it was just a kind of, more of an emotional reaction, you know, it's just things you did if you're an electrician, you know, you're in the Labour Party. But certainly since then.
So you did more research and you did...
Well, I became more interested, and I became interested particularly in ideas of Machiavelli.
Oh, yeah.
Freud and his social theories, Hobbes, people like that.
Yeah. Have you thought of any of your own social theories up from reading out other people's, or were you...
Well, I think you know, I don't know about my own social theories. I think we all construct social theories from the world around us. I don't claim any originality for any of my ideas. Nor did Freud, incidentally. All he did was to disseminate other people's ideas, but of course put them into very, very coherent kind of argument. So I was very much influenced by the, you know, and of course I was introduced for the first time to the Greek philosophers, you know, and I really like those.
You mean Plato and people like that?
Plato, Aristotle, and the Stoic. I was very impressed by the Stoic philosophers.
Yeah. How do you say that, Stoic?
Stoic, S-T-O-I-C, I think.
Oh yes, where you get Stoicism from.
That's right.
Yes, yeah, sure. Yeah. So you were there for what, the customary 3 years?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Then I got a job at Manchester Polytechnic as a lecturer in youth work. I had a professional qualification as a youth worker from Leicester and a degree.
Well, you'd been at the front end there, so you knew what you were talking about.
I knew what I was talking about.
It wasn't all theory. So
certainly wasn't.
Yeah. And how many years were you there for? Then?
I was there for 34 years.
Okay. And then you retired?
Well, I was forced into retirement. I didn't want to retire. I wanted to stay on longer. I wanted to stay till I was 70, but I had a big battle to get 2 years of a fraction contract with them. I think they were really, really naughty. I think the intervention of the Chancellor herself, Dame Janet Smith, I think, must have intervened and told the Vice-Chancellor that she should give me more. Yeah. Just a little more fractional. I had a fractional contract for 2 years. Anyway.
Right. So we won't bother much with that. But, and then after that you left.
Well, during that time, I think during that time I took a part-time master's degree at Salford University, and then a doctorate at Manchester University.
A part-time master's and then a doctorate at Manchester. Right. And what was that, in philosophy or?
It was about, yes, it was political philosophy really, but the doctorate is PhD, so yes, that would be.
Okay. So, how did the bookshop come about after that?
Well, I was always interested in books, and this is just an extension of the hobby, really. It's not profit making. In fact, it's inadvertently non-profit making, I would say. I think it came about because I was interested in books, and a corollary, the unintended consequence of chasing books, that yet so many books, so what should I do with them? So I really needed something to do after I retired. I wasn't going to watch daytime television, really.
No.
And I decided that the best thing to do would be to open a shop.
So you had quite a few books to start with then?
Well, not that many, but you acquire them very quickly. You know, you see people coming in all the time selling me books and house. You know, I go to people's houses
House
where
clearances.
not so much house clearances, but people want to downsize. That's the expression they use for downsizing, or people going into homes.
So how many years have you been here then?
In this shop, in this format, this is my 5th year, nearly 5 years now.
You obviously came across politics through your union membership, and you also got in studying it in your degree courses. And what have you done with it since? Have you developed?
Well, I think one of the big shifts has been that I left Labour Party because I've become, although I was coordinating international social policy, part of my course at, part of my work at Manchester Metropolitan University, as it became. I really wanted to. I'm very much impressed that I think it's British freedom that is the most important.
Yes.
And I think to get freedom and democracy, I believe, and people should rule themselves. I think I could no longer take the view that we should be members of the European Union. So that's the big shift.
Yes.
And I left them and I joined UKIP.
Yeah.
I stood for Parliament on one occasion for them, but I've now left them. We formed a new party which is determined to leave the European Union.
And that's called what?
It's called Democracy First. We've been registered for 2 years now, and I think we should be making a bit more of a splash as time goes on. One of our principal things will be...
Have they actually elected an MP yet? Or you?
No, we have no MP. No, as UKIP, they've been going for 20 years. They have no MP. No, we haven't an MP. We will not contest European elections because we don't believe that they're legitimate. So I think what I regard as fighting for British independence, freedom, necessitates, not just requires, but necessitates the leaving of the European Union. You know, we must, if you like, rejoin the relationship between MPs, or the people we elect, and the people who make the decisions. At the moment, there is none because decisions are made in Brussels by people we have not elected. So I think that's the sort of kernel of the whole issue. I mean, I don't want to go into it anymore, but I mean, that will do.
That's fine, thank you very much. So will you be standing this? Yeah.
I should be standing as a local candidate in the local elections, and I will be standing at the next Parliament elections in 2015. And people have come into the shop and said, look, we don't agree with your politics, and that's fine. Because I'm a bit of a Democrat, they said, look, we don't agree with you, but we're glad you're standing because it gives us an opportunity to vote for other than the main parties.
Yeah.
People have actually said that as they come in here.
So you're talking about as a council, for council?
I will stand for council
in May.
In May this year and hopefully next year, and the parliamentary elections in 2015 as anticipated. I expect that's when they'll be held.
Right, that's good. Sometimes when I've been here, and you start to burst into song, what type of music are you interested in? What sort of music do you like?
Well, I think I love music because I think I'm basically a romantic. So most of the romantic songs are the things I like. I like some jazz, but I don't know much about it. But I think I've got 3 favourite singers. I think it's Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, and Johnny Mathis. And I like that. What I think often is referred to as American musical theatre. You know, there's music of Cole Porter,
Yeah.
Gershwin, Jerome Kern, Rogers and Hart, Lawrence and Hart, and that kind of 1920s to 1950s American theatre. Modern, I quite like the Beatles, although I got the Beatles aren't that modern now. I mean,
No.
but I quite like the Stones. But really, it's that my heart. If you, I mean, I don't
Your heart.
burst into singing lyrics by the Stones, you know, but
No.
I do burst into singing lyrics by certainly the Beatles, perhaps, but much more Sinatra.
Yeah, Sinatra.
So Cole Porter, Gershwin, Kern is the sort of
The genre that you like. Yeah.
And I also believe
So-
that singing is good for you.
Yes. Do you that's a nice quote. Singing is good for you. Do you
Apparently
play
it's
any
good.
musical instruments at all?
No, I don't play any musical instruments at all except the record player.
Mm.
I don't know if is that a musical instrument? I don't know.
Well, it can be, but you've got to actually manipulate it, I think, to be a musical instrument. You'd have to be messing around with the tone,
No,
and screwing up the needle on it or whatever.
I don't mess about.
And you
Yeah.
have a record player, so you have LPs then.
I even have a
Yeah.
hand-wound record player at home.
and LPs.
Yes, I have LPs and
And
78s. Yes, I've got 78s, but I don't play them very much. I usually listen to the CDs or tapes in the car.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So, you've got this bookshop. So, what sort of what do you get out of doing this? You're sitting here day after day, surrounded by all these books. People coming in, selling you some books. And what do you get out of this?
Well, I suppose there are 2 or 3 things really I could comment on. First, I think I enjoy having books around me. I think what I read the French philosopher Montaigne, and he says that what books represent, one of the reasons is maybe unconscious, this, certainly subconscious, is that they represent continuity in a world of change. I think that's
really
probably true. You know, so people, you know, you can go to he says he can, if you're ever a bit down, and I'm very rarely down, he goes to his library and he picks up his favourite book and goes to his favourite passage, and it doesn't ever change. So it's that, this is Montaigne, and it's an interesting concept that you can go back to your favourite poem, like I do sometimes, and it's constant in this change of flux, if you like.
Yeah.
It's kind of philosophical bit, but I think that's probably true.
Okay. So,
And that's one thing. The other thing I think is that you, I mean, I'm reading all the time. I'm reading Dickens and what's her name, George Eliot. Brilliant. Also, I think I like meeting people here. You know, it's very interesting. I have more intellectual discussions in here. Someone comes in as a professor, a very well-known professor at Manchester University. We have more intellectual discussions with him than I ever had at MMU. This is quite astonishing, you know. So, you know, so it's nice. I mean, it's very friendly. People chat about things, and a lot of people come in. They're searching for books which you had as children.
yeah.
So I'm not sure that will happen in any other media, but certainly they go back and they say, well, how can you got that? Have you got, you know, this book? My mother threw it out, you know, when I was 17 or 12 or, and I just want it again.
All right, thank you for that. What do you think e-books, you know, these e-books and the internet and these tablets, and the Kindle, that type of thing, do you think they'll ever replace paper books?
Highly unlikely, not at all, because I think they don't have the quality. I mean, I don't know if I should be saying this, but
You can say what you want.
it's a little bit like saying that, will rubber dolls ever replace women? You know, it's that kind of.
I
You
don't
might
know.
want to
It's an
delete
interesting
that.
discussion now,
But
I
it
can't-
would be.
about your superior experience here.
No, I only got experience in one of those. And with the number of children I have, you know, obviously it's the women.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Right. Put me off my...
So the
I'm
answer,
saying that.
sorry about that, the answer is definitely no. I mean, people may take them on holiday because it's convenient, you know, to take one e-book, then 6 or 10 books. They
It
never
is.
read 10 books anyway.
No.
Just take one book and they might read that.
Okay. So we're turning to Didsbury now. Why do you like Didsbury?
I think it's a very pleasant place to live in. Most of the people are friendly. There's no place in the world where everybody's friendly.
No.
Most of the people are friendly, and it's convenient for, for centre of town or to get to, the motorway network and escape from it. It's got a wonderful international airport. I think it's really very impressive. You can fly almost everywhere in the world. So it's very, very convenient. I mean, if you lived in Huddersfield or, you've got a long way to come to an international airport. So it's very handy for the Lake District. So it's really the centre of everything.
Yeah.
So Didsbury's convenient.
Right. And if you were meeting people from somewhere else, how would you describe Didsbury to other people? So we said, where do you live? You say I live in Didsbury.
I'd say it's a bustling suburb of Manchester. Slightly alternative. I don't think it's as alternative as Chorlton.
No.
But it's got probably more traditional than Chorlton. I find it. I like that mixture of tradition. Quite cosmopolitan, really, but not excessively so.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of tradition and cosmopolitanism that's I think quite attractive.
Right. And I didn't ask you about your family, so
You can do that.
have you married? Obviously.
Yes.
Have you got any children?
9 children I've got.
Nine
children, yes.
Right.
It's my second marriage, so 4 from the first and 5 from the second. So it's 9 children, and I know how many grandchildren because they're all at my 75th.
Yes.
3 weeks ago.
And how many
12.
grandchildren? 12. Yeah, right. And what do you think the challenges are of being a grandfather compared to being a father?
I think what's important, it's the same as being a father. I think what I do a lot is to try and visit them all regularly and not to have any favourites, because that's the big thing, So it's a very collaborative and cooperative family, because what I've tried to do is to engender some kind of interdependence. They're all independent, the children, they're all their own people. But
thank you.
Correct.
Not at all.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much.
Lovely, yeah?
Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied, we'll just glide so starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near, and you may hear the angels cheer because we're together, and weather-wise it's such a lovely day. You just say those words and we'll beat those birds down to Acapulco Bay. It's perfect for a flying honeymoon, they do say. Come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly. Come fly with me, we'll fly and fly. Fly with me, back up, let's fly away.